Yep, so I still don't see anybody here. I mean, there's no Deborah Agenti area as far as I can see. Nobody's identifying themselves. The managing director certainly isn't here. She'd be the fattest woman in the crowd, hideous looking beast that you wouldn't want to look at if she were here. But of course, we've already made it clear that we actually want the adult men, so I don't see sort of David Fern either. I mean, if the adult men in Birmingham's court service can't turn up, then that's, again, not great, is it? But again, given that we have a credible plan to arrest the managing director, I can see why. But in the British legal profession, it hasn't been a right to remain silent in society for quite a while. Once again, you do actually have a duty of candour if you know something's wrong to say so, and that comes into Nolan. So if your senior ops managers had to be reminded about Nolan and how to comply with standards around evidence and whistleblowers and this kind of stuff, then okay, she's been removed from the department, but I'm sure David Fern was spoken to, wasn't he, by the Office of the City Solicitor. It wasn't just this woman batting it back away to me back then. So of course, if the Office of the City Solicitor is raided by police, they'll be able to have a discussion over the weapon attack on the officer with that case history in mind. So of course they set it all up. We've got a quick catching unit, obviously. I'm not part of it for whatever reason, but I'm sure they're hot on the case. The little faux pas of the managing director in Birmingham University, I'm sure, is quite unfortunate. Your court staff are intelligent enough and educated enough to understand the concept of a Potemkin village. And when you're saying, I'm sorry, managing director, that appears to be a Potemkin village and she's hiding, again, the legal inferences aren't really great in terms of a pounds and pence sense. At the end of the day, we are sort of pounds and pence people. All the violence and the shouting and squealing and wailing, it all gets down to the point where, okay, the person's been physically removed from the building, but the money's still there. That isn't going anywhere, and it'll drag along till the person comes back from the dead at some point and says, "Hi, I'm here." But with people like us, I assure you the bill is always due. The problem we've got is the bill has been due in my case for a year, so given that I'm pretty sure it wasn't actually a joke, I'm pretty sure I saw an old man to get cancer and die, and I don't actually have to listen to him anymore. His partners don't have to listen to me either, to be totally fair, but I'm pretty sure that before his death various matters were put in place and some kind of sensible resolution would have to be put to rest, shall we say. It ain't going to be put to rest in Birmingham because I'm not going back for a cup of tea in that polis any further. It'll be given to my colleague who was constructively dismissed by the Criminal Leisure Centre manager. That's not a particularly exciting criminal case for these guys, I do admit. But once the whole chain unravels, we can pick apart what's happened in that city. We can do things sensibly and humanely as certain people start to exit the country, but also get proper justice for what happened for many people in the city as Labour took it over for money and power and laid on the Chinese influence to give it to them. I don't know who was bumbling around my property. The theatre performances in Shutton Gym may have indicated that the spooks were involved at some point, and whether they're involved or not, as I say, I haven't strangled the Lord in the chapel, so it's entirely possible I am working on the side of Britain, whatever these idiots think or not. But the current position is just to get through in legal terms. You accept a rental agreement with the city, which you have to provide based on legal terms, but it now cannot follow the implied agreements under the law because of the levels of violence and lack of police support. The lack of police support is down to the current head of West Midlands Police, who has already capitulated and is still hiding from their current or former court officers, depending on what you want to say. So the current situation in the city remains totally farcical. It's utterly absurd, and every day that's gone on makes them more absurd, not me. The political process is grinding on, so Lowe is sending this stuff every day, and this kind of stuff is going on. But what they're still not getting is if you're the certain sort of person who's used to standing in car parks and not being noticed, then you're surprisingly effective when the database guys actually open you up. Because a forensic database team led by a central government task force, which now by definition would have to include me and pulling in some of my team, because you think I'm going in there solo with some of these little criminals running about, you're delusional, them attacking the auditors and this kind of stuff. Fairly obvious reasons, no. But they cannot hide now. We've got so much force going at them. Just in the air, you can feel it. and you can feel them crack. So the current one, just as a reminder, the email person every morning is this fictitious bureaucrat. They don't exist. They created this email box to try and fake some kind of bureaucratic process, whereas these silly women who want money screeching and hiding behind computers because their money's going to be taken away when a police investigation comes in, they're going to be prosecuted, lose pensions, that kind of stuff. So they're currently playing these theatrics. But there's so many ways to take the bomb out. So somebody goes into a central Birmingham law firm, somebody inquires with a doctor's clinic, or someone inquires with multiple doctor's clinics, I should say. Somebody inquires with various artistic producers in Edinburgh. I'm not a thespian, but many of my colleagues are. People inquire with people who make these things, so headgear manufacturers. There are all sorts of people who've had adult conversations since exiting that particular polis who can now tie things back. So it's really just a case of waiting. If someone can't kill within the next 30 minutes, it's another opportunity for someone to find the managing director, ask where she is, why she's hiding, what behaviour is this, and get her on a video call so she can explain her behaviour to her court officers. This isn't exactly a difficult demand, is it? It happens to our tenants. Someone like me comes to the computer screen at your phone with a certain tone, says, do as you're told because I have authority, and if you dispute that I have authority, other adult men will turn up at your property and forcibly remove you because we have the authority of the state. So what we are suggesting to you at the moment is to have the authority of the state, because we're reporting corruption and entries and this sort of thing. It is given to us by this place and what is above it. So the current incumbent sort of no matter in terms of this stuff. If he can't be petitioned to actually sort the place out and ensure proper legal proceedings are open to the British who are living in that city, then he cannot represent the British, he cannot represent the country. He's a liability for Europe, the country, the world, and chopping his head off on Arthur's Seat is a perfectly reasonable course of action to anybody thinking about this in historical terms. So get rid of him, say, OK, we're going to have a constitutional reset now. This doesn't happen again, actually we're in control of the country, thank you. And if there's any disputes, we will fight you. So this is clearly the current political position of our side. Take it or leave it. The current coalition talks appear to have broken down, so the answer is apparently leave it. So the answer is fine, leave it. When this thing is taken down, sort of end of August, and this place is opened back up again, you've again got a lot of sort of climatic energy dispersed. So every night this is a celebration of what's left of British military might. And you hear the bagpipes, they are intended to be friendly for friendly British forces, but you can feel the energy sort of flowing around Britain, and the energy from Birmingham does occasionally seep up here with gusts of vapour. So while Rowley remains at large, along with Cotton, Naylor, those kind of crooks, I would suggest that possibly when the army heads south, it may be looking for those sort of people on its return. So before that happens, anybody in the country can play this little game if they like. A lot of empty seats, same as Bet Civil War panel. You can get down to the Ball Street Court, physically find these people, get a police officer, point them out, get on the call and get me. You have my internal appreciation, because we'll start actually catching some of these criminals in the absence of West Midlands police. You're not doing anything wrong. This is a straightforward instruction from someone who's involved in criminal law for, in my father's case, most of his career, in my case by osmosis, effectively. But when the current head of Clan McGrath is sitting outside Edinburgh Castle saying, can I report a serious organised crime please, and the police station down the corner is not complying, this should tell you about the state of the country if nothing else does. So further request please, call 101, find these people, get a referral up north. I'm easily reachable in Edinburgh. You'll know where to find me.